Hi, my name's Ishmael and today we're going to be talking about Section 24 and the tax implications that they've done, as well as how it's going to be influencing the property market. So, Section 24 is a tax for landlords and it is coming full swing as of this tax year. So when you do your next tax return in the following year, which will be due from April 2021, you will have to implement this 100%. So the way it works, and we'll work on the 100% because everything else would have been done in the past, and this is where it really hits full home blown to the landlords, and this is where the landlords will be affected and they'll be looking at what they can do. This is where we come in. However, let's go back to the Section 24 and how it is calculated. So in previous years, before Section 24 was announced, the way things work is if you had a £20,000, for example, income, and then your interest-only payments on your properties was £5,000, you would declare that your income was actually £15,000. And then you would put all your expenses on that, and that would bring your income down, and then whatever was left after expenses would be your taxable income. Now it's a little bit different now, because that's how it used to be. But the way it works as of full implication of Section 24 is that your income would be £20,000 and you wouldn't be able to put in the mortgage payments as a tax deduction and then your tax deductions underneath. Your mortgage would be putting as an expense and therefore you would get 20% tax back. Now how does this implement people on low income? It doesn't. It does not affect any landlord where their total income before mortgage expenses and other expenses to do with property was under the 40% tax threshold. This tax threshold is £47,500. So if you earn £47,500, then it does not affect you. That's before you take off your mortgage interest rates, payments. Now if you earn over £37,500, that's where this will be changing your income and your profits. So, if you earn £40,000, in the old way, if you earned £40,000 before the Section 24 came in, what would happen is they'd take the £40,000 and say your mortgage interest rates payments completely were £5,000. They'd take the £40,000, you'd put your mortgage interest rate payments on, and then it would reduce your taxed income to £35,000. So you'd declare that your income was actually £35,000, then you would put your expenses on that and everything underneath. So you would be in the 20% tax bracket. Now with the new Section 24, this doesn't happen. What happens is you're paying the 40% tax bracket, so you have to pay from the £37,500 to £40,000, so the £2,500 in this example would be at 40% tax bracket. Now, the way it works is that you can still put your mortgage interest payments as an expense, but expenses are only 20% tax deductible. Now, effectively, what this means is that your mortgage interest rates are taxed at 40%, rather than before them being taxed at 20% because they would pull your income down into the 20% tax bracket. So the difference between your paid tax and your reclaimed tax is now different, and that's where you are effectively paying more taxes. So this means that you would pay 40% tax on that £5,000, meaning that you would pay £2,000 tax, but you would only be able to claim £1,000 tax back, which means that the difference is £1,000 on £5,000. So this is a big difference for landlords because that £1,000 extra per £5,000 mortgage repayments could make a big difference. Now, generally, if you are a large portfolio landlord, then you are going to be in the 40% tax bracket and above, and so you'll be paying everything at 40% and you'll only be able to claim the mortgage interest rates back at 20%. Now, I know people with mortgages of £700 to £1,000 a month, meaning that they're paying over £10,000 in mortgage fees. Now, if they can only claim back the 20% as opposed to the 40% they pay, because they are now in a higher tax bracket, then they are effectively paying an extra, say it's £10,000 a year, they're effectively paying an extra £2,000 on interest. Now that £2,000 will effectively come out of their profits. If the £2,000 comes out of their profits, they're going to be paying approximately £166 a month will come out of their profits. Now, if their profit was only £300, that's just half their profit to £120. And if you then take into account the fact that they might have unforeseen repairs, which they may have been taking into account before, but they've just halved their profit. And this therefore means that the property is no longer necessarily worth having, because they've halved their profits, meaning their profits are so low that they're getting 2-3% interest effectively on their property. Is it still worth owning property? Well, that's where you put it in a limited company. The problem is that to transfer a personal portfolio into a limited company, you have to sell it to the company. Now, if you sell the properties to the company, the problem is that you're going to have to pay stamp duty on purchasing those properties. So the purchase of the properties means you have to pay stamp duty on it, and therefore you've now just massively increased the costs of transferring it, and if you've increased the costs, it no longer becomes viable. So what does this mean for us? It means that landlords are probably going to be saying these properties are no longer worth having, and they're going to start selling them off. And as they sell them off, that's where we come in and we can offload the properties on them. Now, as we're looking to buy, or at least I'm looking to buy, property after property after property after property, then we could come to an agreement with the landlord where we can buy one property every year, which will allow them to offset their taxes from their capital gains tax. This benefits them because they can sell their properties and not have to pay capital gains tax as much on each property. And it benefits us because we have a regular supply of properties. If you like this video, please smash that subscribe button, whack that bell notification icon to get notified of videos coming out each and every week.